To follow on from what we saw in the previous tutorial, in this tutorial we're going to look at transitions between two video clips so that they don't abruptly change from one to the other. Additionally, I'll use an audio crossfade as well, because if you don't, simply having a transition between two video clips, well, that goes smoothly enough. However, the viewer will certainly notice if the audio doesn't have a transition, despite having a video transition. So, let's get started then. Now, because I haven't trimmed either of these two video clips at the moment, they are at their full length. So, it will mean if I try to add a transition between the two clips, Premiere Pro hasn't got any excess trimmed area that it can use for the crossfade. Okay, therefore it will have to create an artificial crossfade by duplicating frames. So, we want to do something about that. So by selecting my effects panel means that I can now access my video transitions folder. So we'll start with video transition. We don't have to, we could have done the audio if we wanted to. Click here to reveal what's inside. Well, as you can see, we have a further 10 subfolders, and each subfolder is categorized. I want to use a simple transition, so I'm going to go for dissolve. So I'll reveal my dissolve folder, and inside here we see all these different presets. Now I want a very simple cross dissolve, so I'm going to choose my second option, cross dissolve. It's a straightforward transition. But you can see by the other descriptions that they are pretty much self-explanatory. To re-emphasize what I've just spoken about, if I left-click on it and drag to the division line between my two clips, it seems impossible to be able to drop it right on the division line so that I could create a natural cross-dissolve transition between the two clips. It's not letting me do it, and that is because, as I've said, I've not trimmed any frames away from the beginning or the end. So that's what I need to do first of all. I'll trim away the end of our first clip, and then I'll trim away the beginning of our second clip. And you remember how we close up the gap, right click, and then hit Ripple Delete. So now my two clips are joined together, we now can create this cross dissolve between them. If I now left click on it and drag over my two clips, then I can drop it so that it equally distributes between the first and the second clip. So there is my cross dissolve added. Okay. If I want to enlarge the area, left click and drag to the left and right click and drag to the right here. Meaning, of course, my cross dissolve area will take that little bit longer. If I want to move the whole of the cross dissolve so it's not distributed equally, then left click and drag to reposition it. And to help you out, notice in our program monitor how we get to see both clips. We see the end of our first clip and we see the beginning of our second clip. And it allows us to visually see the midpoint frame of our cross dissolve. Not only that, you get to see the time code as well, superimposed on top of both clips. Right, I now need to render this for smooth playback, and you can tell that of course by the render line. I'll run up to sequence and then down to render. Right, let's do the same thing with the audio. Remember what I said a few moments ago, if we don't do it with the audio, even though we've taken time to make our first clip smoothly transition into our second clip, the viewer would still notice there was something wrong if the audio abruptly changed, so we need to create an audio crossfade as well. I'll go up to my audio transitions folder, open up the crossfade option and click constant power and drag that on the division line between my two audio clips. Now I don't have to enlarge the audio here, but I will do to pretty much match the cross dissolve length on the video. And once I'm done, well, shall we see this back? I'll hit play, here we go. Okay then, it's that easy when we want to make a cross-dissolve transition for our video clip, but not forgetting, so that it doesn't seem awkward when the audio changes, we've added an audio crossfade as well. Right, we'll leave it here then, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.